Hello and welcome to the Everywhere We Go podcast. Now, on this episode, we are talking to Joe Root. We're also talking to him in our next episode as well. So over the next couple of weeks, we've got some brilliant chat. This, though, is where we're talking all about the India series, a brilliant test summer, what it's like being an older statesman in the dressing room, and a certain record that he's chasing. If you're heading down under, well, good news, because at the Barmy Army, we're here to try and help you make the absolute most of your trip to Australia. And we're doing that by partnering with Travello, who are the absolute bee's knees when it comes to providing excursions. And we're helping you save some money as well. $20 off your first excursion that you book. Have a look on the website. There's some absolutely brilliant ones as well. And remember to use the code BARMY20. because that will save you a little bit of Aussie dollar that you will well need for your trip down under. Hello and welcome to the Everywhere We Go podcast, and you're here because, let's be honest, Chris, the people, they've seen the podcast title, they've seen the social media clips, they've seen the caption underneath the video, they know why they're here. They don't really need an introduction.
To see your new perm?
It's nothing to do with that. You can watch on YouTube, by the way. I don't recommend it, but I also do recommend it to... if you watch our guests for who we have for the company or for the next 2 weeks, no less, the absolute legend that is at Barmy Army HQ, no less, Joe Root, ladies and gentlemen. Are you happy to be here, Joe?
I'm ecstatic to see both of you, yeah.
Good. How are you?
Yeah, good.
Long international summer, then the 100 and all the rest of it. It is a lot, isn't it? It is quite a lot of stuff over the last few months.
Yeah, but it's good, isn't it? You get to play a high level of cricket for a long period of time. That's what you want to pit yourself against, is playing against the best and performing against the best. So the fact that we've had such a high quality level of cricket all summer has been thoroughly enjoyable. So some amazing games to be a part of, both red and white ball, and there's some even more exciting ones to come as well.
There is. We are going to talk in part 2, which will be out next week, all about the Ashes. We want to reflect a little bit more on the summer. And before we do that, Chris, I should actually declare a bit of an interest to our listeners. I think listeners to As Was the Shackles are often now further back on our feed for the Everywhere We Go podcast that we are mates of Joe's. That's what we tell ourselves. I'm not looking him in the eye for confirmation on that. But we need to declare an interest, a bit like a government official who's just awarded a government contract to a business that they've got money in.
Yeah,
it's fair, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I want to ask some questions that, like, I wouldn't actually ask you. Like, I genuinely don't know the answers to some of these questions. Because we don't talk cricket generally, we don't talk stuff, the odd thing here and there, but we don't grill each other, do we?
It's pretty much paddle and golf, isn't it?
Paddle and golf, exactly, and where we're going for dinner or a drink or whatever it might be.
Well, it's normally a bit like this. I can't get a word in, so even if you did ask me,
yeah.
Oh, sorry, you're the guest.
Yeah, that's true. Sorry. Yeah, okay. The listeners are here to listen to Joe. So, here's one. You've spent half your life in hotel rooms with teammates. What's the one thing? I know you used to carry the ukulele around with you. Do you still carry that around with you?
No.
What is it now?
You know very well that I don't. If I did take anything with me, it'd be a guitar.
Okay.
But not very often now.
No. Golf clubs
are obviously the first thing you pack outside of your cricket kit. But I think the one thing that I've been very fortunate throughout my whole career is I get on with pretty much the whole team and have done since day dot. So you've always got good company and good people around you where you can go and explore. I think one of the great things about touring is getting the opportunity to immerse yourself in the different cultures, the different places, the different lifestyles that you go and visit, right? And that's one of the highlights of doing what we do, is you get to go to some wonderful countries and experience things that you would never normally get to do in any other working environment. So, it's more about making sure you've got the right people around you that you can go and do that with. And thankfully, I've got a number of mates that I've managed to do that with, both in the team and around it as well.
Do come across like nice lads, don't they? Like when you, it's obviously all right with saying this, like knowing you a little bit and whatever, but like genuinely, I think anybody watching or listening who's a fan of cricket would agree with that. Everybody comes across great, and there's no bad eggs in there, is there? Which is probably a little bit different to maybe 10, 15, 20 years ago where there were conflicting personalities, but everybody does get on in that dressing room.
Yeah, as I say, I've been very fortunate. I've never been in a position where you felt this is a bit awkward, or there's someone that you really struggle with. So yeah, it's good in that respect. More recently started taking the paddle stuff as well. So there's a few guys that are quite competitive and
paddle or paddle, both of you.
Paddle, come on. I need to move to London, but
No, I don't have genuine question. Paddle?
No, paddle.
All right, fair enough. Love
Come
that.
on.
Flat vowels, get in. Come on. No, I'm all for it. Talking, because nice lads. What about pub quiz team? You know, like if you were doing, there's some bright lads in there as well.
Zach Crawley,
Yeah.
the Oracle, as we call him.
Is he?
Yeah.
Why'd you
He's got an answer for everything. Him, Siri is Jamie Overton. he literally will come with an answer for everything. And one more, Woody, sports knowledge.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
no.
very,
Encyclopedic.
especially football.
Because
very good.
I remember going to a pub quiz with you years ago with Adam Live. Do you remember this?
Well, the thing is, if he was with Adam Live, as long as he wasn't writing it down, he can't spell very well. But his football knowledge is very good.
Big Arsenal fan, isn't he, Adam?
Big
Live?
Arsenal fan.
I remember there was a question about Madagascar, and he said, "I don't know. That's about the kids' film, innit?"
well, it isn't wrong, is it?
No, it's not wrong actually. Yeah, it was very good.
What about Brookie? Is he getting in your pub quiz team?
Probably not, but
Hey, he offers different stuff, right?
Look, I've given Brookie a lot of hammer about not being the brightest, but he's a lot more bright than he'll let on.
Nice.
He's pretty switched on. He plays up to it a bit. To be fair.
You're good mates with him, aren't you, Brooke?
Yeah.
Harry Brooke, yeah. I've
known him since he was about 14 years old.
Really?
Yeah, watched him come through at Yorkshire. Used to bowl at us in the nets after with that same action that he bowls with, yeah.
At what point did you think, oh, wow, I feel a bit old now? Playing with people like Brookie, Bethell, is it a point where you do, or you still feel like you're 21, buzzing around, loving it?
I think, they keep you young, right? When you play with the younger lads, they sort of, you have to keep up with them. But I think when Jimmy retired, Broadie wasn't there anymore. Joss hadn't been playing Test cricket for a while. Stokes, he was out injured. You start thinking, looking around, there's me and Wokes here, and everyone else is 23, and you do feel like one of the old guys. You're closer to the coaching staff than the playing group in age, anyway. So, but I think that's quite a nice balance to have, right? You've got a bit of experience there. You've been there and you've done it with them all, and you need a bit of variety. You need different personalities, and I think you learn a lot from each other in that respect too.
So I remember seeing like pictures, and everyone will have seen these when you make your debut, and obviously on Sky they're showing all the pictures of you having a photo with Michael Vaughan or whatever, and you're like a little kid, and obviously Vaughan is there, and then and all these comparisons. There was one going around the other day. Did you see this of Jacob Bethell asking you for a photo? I think in Barbados, wasn't it? Well, that must be a bit weird, for not least for him, but for you as well, right?
It's awesome though. I remember that day. He was 10 years old. We just played a one day at Bridgetown.
You remember
in Barbados? Yeah, because we went because my dad and his dad played club cricket for 10 years together at Sheffield Collegiate, and then he moved back to Barbados, and I had Jacob and his sister, and so we went over to go and see them after the game, and it just so happened that he was playing in an under-12s game or whatever. He got 120 overs, played amazing. Watched him, thought, wow, this guy's going to be really good. He was 2 years younger than the team he was playing for, and he still looked like a level above, which was really impressive. So yeah, to then get the opportunity to sort of see him go through coming over to the UK, studying, I think it was at rugby school, getting in the Warwickshire, set up there, and then getting involved with the England team. I also batted with him in his Test debut, hit the winning runs against New Zealand,
yeah, of course,
out in Christchurch, which was again a really cool experience. You sort of known the family for a long time, and then to get to experience that out in the middle, and then not long back the last ODI against South Africa, watch him peel off an innings like that, high skill. You're like cutting it around at the other end, and he's whacking everyone everywhere. So it was awesome. It was really good, and I think the most impressive thing with him is his temperament.
Right.
You look at already what he's achieved, and with the limited opportunities he's had, at 21 years old, he's won an IPL, first time of trying, and contributed nicely to it. He's gone into the Test team and batted at number 3, having never scored a first-class 100, and looked very assured. And again, made some really good scores and contributed in all 3 of those Test matches. And he's just made his ODI maiden 100 and about to captain England. And it's really impressive the way he holds himself, the way he takes everything in his stride. And if it's not this year or next year, I think we're going to see him flourish into a wonderful international cricketer for a very long time.
That's high praise, isn't
It is, and he's got that swagger, hasn't he? He just looks cool. He just looks the part already.
Yeah.
Some players do, some players don't, and he's
But a lot of that's like observant, isn't it? Like when you would have been growing up watching Varney and then KP and these sorts of players, and obviously you're not just watching what they do in terms of their technicals, but you're also watching kind of the stuff that you don't really need to do, and what I mean by that is like, the way that you adjust the gloves, and you sort of might have a little back away to square leg and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
The little mannerisms, and like you pick up on stuff like that, don't you? Like,
Yeah.
like that's
You do. It's like watching you play golf and you try and be Francesco Molinari or something like that.
yeah, but like,
Colin Montgomery over here.
Colin. That's more like.
I was going to say it's a bit more accurate.
Yeah.
Especially with his curly hair.
Don't knock him. He's brilliant.
Yeah, he was, 8 Order of Merits. Right, let's go back to the cricket. The India series, like all of us, right? So you watched the 05 Ashes as a youngster. I mean, a bit like all of us in this room, actually. I'm sure that we're all inspired by that. And you saw there, obviously, some inspired performances from some people who are then legends of the game. You saw how it kind of swept the nation, and nothing has really, capture the imagination. Obviously, Ashes series go big to get front and back page coverage and all the rest of it. This summer, though, was like the first time, and we spoke about this on previous podcasts with Finney and Dan Norcross and other people, and everybody was saying it's a bit like the 05 Ashes. This, like, everybody's talking about it. You flip the radio on, even like Radio 1, like these like music guys going, have you seen the cricket? And you're like, whoa, this thing has gone big.
Yeah.
Do you ever get a sense of that? Because you've got enough Test cricket under your belt now, like, over 150 tests, to know what feels big and what feels, like a normal Test series. Did you get a feeling of that this summer? That it was massive?
Not beforehand. I think once you're in it, yeah. And I think it's more because of the way the games went, right? It all went to 5 days. They were all ebbed and flowed. You didn't really, bar the Edgbaston game, you didn't really know who was on top. You didn't know which way it was going to pan out. And that's what makes it so enthralling, right? Is you turn up and all 3 results are on the card still. And the fact that happened for 4 out of the 5 Test matches, even a bit of a long shot, but all 5 Test matches, was awesome. I mean, you mentioned 2005. I remember I could pretty much tell you where I was at different points throughout that series. I remember the last day at the Oval, I had to go to school, and I remember being sick in chemistry and going home and watching the last day on the sofa, just being completely gripped to it. It was convenient
timing, that one.
Yeah, sometimes the stars align, don't they? But I'm watching that innings from KP, the fact that McGrath was on a hat-trick, you thought, oh my God, this is going to happen again. They're going to get across, and then he just played like that. It was awesome. The India series was quite similar, really. It sort of had everything. You got injuries, the drama of like Pant breaking his foot, and then same with Chris Wokes and his heroics, and on the last day at the Oval, and guys putting their bodies on the line, like properly putting their bodies on the line. Stokes, he had a serious shoulder injury out of bowling for him. And doing everything he possibly could to win us that game at Old Trafford. Some amazing innings, Shubman Gill in his first Test series as captain to be able to score as heavily as he did and be as consistent as he was, and still lead in the manner that he did was quite impressive, even from an opposition player. You've seen some young talent like Jasprit come out and again in these conditions, foreign conditions, as well as doing it in Australia, doing it in England as well, was again impressive. Do you
know him from your Rajasthan days as well?
Yeah. Played a lot of cricket. I trained a lot with him throughout that period. So it's been awesome to see him do what he's done. I mean, ideally not against us, but his, the way that he's taken to international cricket, to the pressures and demands of the game have been really impressive. And I'm not even spoken about our team yet. Jamie Smith, the way that he came into that series and the impact he had, especially early on in it. Harry Brook again showing. Ben Duckett's 100 in the fourth innings at Headingley was just incredible. So I mean, I could go through everyone. The contributions from the bowlers, someone like Josh Tongue taking as many wickets as he did, and at different points blowing the game right open, cleaning the tail up, stuff like that. It's not even mention Big Bash, the Woking Warrior with his broken hand. Going and winning us that game at Lords.
Yeah,
never easy as a young spinner to take on that mantle of winning a game. And doing the job with the ball when everyone expects you to be the one to win the game, and for him to take that on with his finger blown off as it was a right mess. But for him to do that, it was really impressive to see the way that everyone threw themselves into that series and the different contributions at different times, and as well the way that guys stood up to pressure. Look at Ollie Pope in the first game. Everyone was talking, well, should he be playing? And exactly why he should. He answered his critics. He made a brilliant 100. And again, everyone will speak about Ducky and the way that game finished, but without his innings and his contribution in the first, we wouldn't have got to where we did. So. Albeit, the scoreline will say 2-2. It could have very easily been 3-2. Me and Brookie should have taken us home on that last day. It was or fourth day with the partnership we had.
You say that like you've done.
So but that's when you should be in the most control of it all. But credit to India, they had a small sniff at getting back into the game and they took it and. Again, made for compelling viewing, I'm sure, for everyone at home watching. I
don't want to say, it's a good warm-up for the Ashes, because that's putting no respect on the fact England-India in itself is a humongous summer of cricket. Yeah. But it is a cool thing to look forward to ahead of the summer, the winter, I beg your pardon, isn't it?
It's put Test cricket at the forefront of the sport.
Of course it has, and people wanting more as well, which is absolutely key. We'll talk, obviously, more about the Ashes next week in our episode. Just on the summer that's gone by, now, this, I sort of do know the answer to this. I promise that these were all questions that I've not asked you. One, I saw you a few weeks ago when you were playing the 100, and it was a few days after the Oval, and I was getting really fired up, like everybody, watching that India series, and you get the pantomime villain thing, don't you? And I thought Mohammad Siraj was like the epitome of that. He was just so infuriating if you're from an England standpoint, but so brilliant actually if you were from a neutral perspective. Obviously we're not. But I asked you, I said, what are these guys like? What's Krishna like, or Bumrah or Siraj or whatever? Are they all right? I almost wanted you to say no, they're not. They're horrible and they're really difficult to play against. But you gave me, and this is an honest answer, knowing you as I do. You said, no, they're actually all great. They're all spot on and they're really good competitors. And I was a little bit disappointed, but actually probably a couple of days later I was like, that's actually quite nice, because I can root for them and actually next time they come here or whatever, at least I'm
when they play Australia.
Yeah, exactly. You're a bit more fond of them, but that's something that you only get in cricket, isn't it, really? And we'll talk more about that with the Ashes, but they are good lads, aren't they, the India team? Yeah,
I mean, I don't know most of them really well, but a lot of the stuff that you see on the screen it's all for show.
Yeah.
Someone like Siraj, it's all his way of trying to create an atmosphere, try and create something, whether it be from the crowd, from his teammates, try and create some form of pressure and theatre that might give them a small edge. Yeah. And that's the art of the game. So I think the best person that's ever done it was probably Shane Warne. He was brilliant at creating something out of nothing. And the game wasn't moving anywhere. He had that sort of, not that I ever played against him, but watching it on the TV, speaking to guys that did, they said that was one of his superpowers, and what made him so good was not just his skill level and the ability to turn the ball square and bowl 7 or 8 different deliveries.
That was useful.
Yeah, that does help. But the fact that when nothing was happening, everything's in the batter's favour, he would create some bit of magic, whether it be through some light-hearted sledging or try and entice you to play here and do that. So I think there's just an element of that in the way they do things, and it's just making sure as an opposition player you've got a really good method in combating that, and whether that's having to go back at them. I mean, you look at the incident at Lords where Zach, there was a number of different things that made that over last about 8 minutes long, whether it be the sight screen wasn't quite right, there was someone moving there, and Gil lost his temper, but he creates great drama. It adds to the whole thing, and it's not something you want to see all the time. I think you don't want games to only, or days played to have 60 overs because there's so many other things, and you want to watch the cricket right. But every now and again, something like that, I think it juices things up.
It's good theatre, isn't it?
It's good theatre, as long as it doesn't, go past any line, and it doesn't ruin the, then as a one-off, I think.
Yeah,
it makes for quite funny viewing.
Can you see that more now? Like you're, as you've already said, a bit of a more experienced statesman. Like if it was your 10th Test match, you'd be going, "Whoa, what's this all about?" But now it's like you can sit there on the balcony and just have a little chuckle about it. Yeah,
I think not that you don't take it seriously now, but I think the more you play, the more you have a way of being able to detach yourself at the right times. Detach yourself emotionally from certain situations and see them for what they are.
Yeah.
And I actually think that's a really important skill to be able to have in international cricket. Sometimes you get so wrapped up in everything that you don't see the game for what it is. And it was quite amusing watching that all unfold, especially having seen Shubman have a massage for 10 minutes when he had cramp the day before. So that's the beauty of it, right, is that there are other things that happen within the game which I think add to the whole spectacle, which is great.
There was a moment in that series where you got a bit riled up, wasn't there, at one point?
Yeah, there was, yeah.
Any insight into that? Or
first ball, he hit me hard on the finger, and I was trying not to show any sort of emotion about it. And then I think it, whether it be the next ball or one after, I hit him for 4 and he said something to me. I had no idea what he said. I just thought he's not going to expect me to go back at him, so
let's do it.
I tried to put him on the
back
back
foot. Like a little trump card out, from poker.
Yeah, well, there was an element of that. There's an element of still being a reasonable amount of pain.
That's good.
But I think the situation sort of required it as well. Where we were in the game, it was quite a bowler-friendly surface.
Yeah.
There was overcast. I think the lights might have been on, and it was trying to just find a way of almost creating a bit of chaos, scrambling their minds, and trying to flip momentum back in your own favour. Albeit there was an element of emotion in it. There wasn't any malice in it, and we had a good chat that evening or the following morning, and everything's fine. He was involved at Rajasthan when I was there as well. So
nice.
He's a good fella. There was he definitely didn't say anything offensive, and I'd like to think I didn't either. I might have mentioned that he was going at 6 and over, but I think that was
good for
more.
Stats.
It was on the board, so I could read it. But and that was it. Really, it was it always gets dramatised. It always is blown up to be something bigger than it is.
Because people want it to be.
Yeah,
of course.
It's entertainment.
Yeah, of course. But sometimes that can be slightly frustrating as a player. Whichever side you're on, whichever side of it you're on. So, again, it's just about trying to stay as level as you can, see things for what they are, and understand that the majority of the time things aren't as bad as you think they are, and things aren't as good as you think they are as well.
You talk about theatre, and don't know if you agree with me, Greggy, but Bumrah is one of the most unique bowling actions of all time. Is he the toughest bowler to face, or have you got used to it now you've faced him that much?
I just think that he's just very unique. So you've got to find a method that you can trust against it, right? He can bowl at a decent pace. He can swing it both ways, and he lets the ball. His release point is later than everyone else's. He's so wide on the crease. They're all things that are very unusual, and they can take 4 or 5 balls to get accustomed to, if not longer. So I think more than anything is just making sure that you're attuned to that. There have been times when he's got the better of me, quite a few times, and there's been times when I've scored quite heavily against him as well. But that's the art of it, and he's got an incredible record. I mean, He's played more games away from home than at home, and he averages less than 20.
Yeah.
But I also think the way that we countered him this series was brilliant. He only played 3 games, but out of those 3 that we played against him, we won two of them, right? Is that right?
Yeah.
So, in terms of the impact, he might have got wickets, but the way that we, I guess, manipulated their whole attack around him, or at times, put pressure back on him was really, testament to our
that because
skill.
his presence was on that team sheet, and he thought, right, what we need to do is we need to give this lad we need not target him as such, but there's more of an awareness that he's on that team sheet and he's going to be part of that attack. And because it seemed actually, like you say, he was in there for 3 test matches and it was completely nullified for 2 of them. What is that? Is that him not bowling as well as he can, or is that because you guys have really kind of, right, we need to be on it here because Bumrah's in the team?
Yeah, I don't think it's as straightforward as just trying to nullify him. I think you have to play what's right in front of you. Right, you have to take in a number of different things. The fact that he's part of an attack, and there might be different bowls on that surface that you might fancy more. It might be that towards the back end of a test match it starts spinning and Jadeja becomes more of the threat, and you go, right, for the other guys we might have to be a little bit more proactive. It might be that someone's on a heater at the other end. You go, right, I'll get you on strike. There's so many different factors that come into it. Clearly, he has a number of tools and skills that he brings to the game that you need to be aware of and find ways of managing. But ultimately, it's not overthinking it. You can build players up to be more than they are, and that's not me being disrespectful to him. He's world class. He's the best test bowler in the world. But in your mind, you can make him feel unfaceable, and that's you walking out there with no chance before you've even faced the ball. So sometimes the surface plays better than you think it does. Sometimes they have an off day, and sometimes you're playing really well. And it's how many times can you get yourself in the right frame of mind to try and bring as many things into your favour as possible. It might be where you bat in the crease. It might be getting deep, stay leg side of it, get out your crease, bat on off. Whatever it is, there are a number of ways that you can manage that within your own game frame to try and combat what they're going to throw at you. And when they aren't in your favour, what calculated risks are you willing to take under pressure, and being able to live with that if it goes wrong. And I think they're the things that we did pretty well throughout that series.
Yeah.
3rd day, 4th test, Old Trafford. You go past 3rd spot and into 2nd spot on the test runs scored list.
Sailing up.
There's 3,800 and odd players who can call themselves test cricketers, and you are now 2nd behind one man, Sachin Tendulkar. Now, I know that you get asked about this a lot, and the fact that they're there is a record to be broken. But for us, I just want to know how it feels to be sat there on that list first and foremost, regardless of whether you end up going past him or not, and if you've got ambitions of going past him or not, because I know that you're all about the team. But is that something that actually, in the last few weeks since the test series is finished, you've allowed yourself just to think, that's actually pretty awesome?
No, it's pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie. It is like when you sit back and you. I think when I was, from as long back as I can remember, playing with my brother on the driveway in the garden at Abbeydale Sports Club, we'd grow up wanting to be these people, whether it be Ricky Ponting, Brian Lara, Sachin Tendulkar, Kumar Sangakkara, Rahul Dravid, Jack Callis. We'd practice being them. We'd use their techniques. We'd try different backlifts. We would wear a South Africa shirt, or we'd wear a Sri Lanka shirt, or whoever it was, and we'd create our own little test matches, and that's what we do. So to even just be in the same conversation as these guys is pretty surreal. So it was pretty cool. It's not what I played the game for. I played the game because I absolutely loved it first and foremost, and still do. And getting the opportunity to go out and play for England is such a huge privilege and such an honour. And that's never really wavered or changed. And I think the most rewarding thing about when you go out there is knowing that you've contributed to a win, or your part within. You work so hard for 5 days, or however long a test match takes, with dovetailing with 10 other blokes.
Yeah.
And even the guys that aren't playing in the game themselves but are in that squad. You go through all the ups and downs, the hardships, hours of fielding. Someone you might drop a catch or run someone out, and you've got to deal with the fact that you're letting other people down, or you feel like the number of different things that you go through along the way. When you can sit down at the end of it and you can enjoy it with those guys, there is no feeling better than that. And clearly, if you're scoring runs and you're contributing heavily, then other things will fall into place. But that'll always be at the forefront of how I approach each and every test match, I think, to the end of my career.
Which is genuine as well, isn't it? Like,
Absolutely.
we've known this guy a long time. And also on the flip side of that is that not many of those thousands of runs are in vain. That's another thing. And so in terms of your satisfaction, actually, where you do sit on that list, it is nice knowing, I'm sure, knowing that actually a lot of those runs have helped England to victories and important moments and, series saving moments and all the rest of it.
Quite a good point, actually. Have you got a favourite knock that you've played in Test cricket for England?
No, I don't think I do, to be honest.
Yeah.
There are elements of innings that I've played that were pretty special. I remember when Bill was 12th man at Lords in Ashes Test match.
Yeah, of course.
He came out and he was more nervous than me, I think. He remember him bringing a drink out. And Brad Haddin actually came over and was trying to have a nice moment. He was like, oh, this is quite cool, isn't it? Two brothers. It's like Christmas Day. And he goes, you got no idea what Christmas is like coming from Australia. You sit on a beach and you're just like, Bill, calm down. And then for like the next hour, I was getting hammered by him from behind the stumps because of what my brother was saying. And he's like, sorry, I just lost my head there. I didn't know what to do.
Cheers, Bill.
Yeah, cheers, Bill. But that was always cool whenever he was involved in the test match. And he was, he was there to... He did it against New Zealand, did it against Australia.
Yeah.
We won both our games, could enjoy both of them with him in the whites, in the dressing room.
Amazing.
It was really cool to experience. There's, winning out in South Africa, Brody getting that 6 for, and then being able to get 100 in that game for us to seal the series there was pretty cool. I think same with Trent Bridge when we bowled Australia out for 60 again, Brody taking 8 for.
Yeah.
And getting 100 in that game was, again, to sort of having watched the chaos unfold in front of you, I think this is going to be challenging. But then to
validate what Brody had done,
to go on and get a score that meant we were pretty much really in control of the game was nice. But everything has one of the most enjoyable days of my whole career, and the one that I look back on the most is the World Cup final.
Yeah.
Right? And I got 3 or 7 or whatever it was off 25 balls in a 50 over game. And it's probably one of the worst I've felt and played. Technically, was all over the place. Colin de Grandon was turning me inside out in a white ball game. Couldn't get off a square, but it's one of the most enjoyable days I've had on a cricket field. And it just shows like sometimes it isn't about the numbers. It isn't about what you actually do. It's about what you've done together as a group, and whatever your contribution, small or big, that you're all in it together. And I think that's the beauty of cricket and team sport is it's not all about you. It's about how you can be a part of something bigger than you, and know that if it isn't your day, there are other guys that can stand up and do it for you, and you can still enjoy that with them and celebrate that with them. So
that's cool. It's a kind of good advice that for young cricketers, which brings us nicely onto the members' questions. Thanks so much, by the way, if you did send some of these in. This first one's from Ava. I've got a little girl who started to get into cricket. She watched it during the 100 and was obsessed. What is your number one tip for kids getting into the game? I have a feeling I know what you're going to say.
Watch the ball, first and foremost. Whether you're in the field, whether you're batting, watch the ball and keep it fun.
Keep it fun.
Yeah, keep it fun. Swing as hard as you can with your head still. Try and hit it as far as you can with your head still. And keep it as fun and enjoyable as possible.
Good. That's a good one. Thanks, Ava, for that. We've got another question from Harry. How do you relax during a high-pressure series like the Ashes or during World Cups? I have a feeling it might involve some golf clubs.
Yeah, especially away from home. This test series against India, we played a little bit of golf in between the games. But also we had a week off between test matches as a rest week. So me, Kerry and the kids went on holiday for 5 days just to escape everything. which was great. Like we never get to have some holiday, so the fact we could just shoe on one in was brilliant.
That's awesome.
I think just being able to do normal things. Sometimes you can get so wrapped up in the cricket, and everyone's sort of talking about the test matches. Doing normal things is really important.
I'm going to watch the cricket on a Saturday and
Or
a
just-
local club.
Yeah.
Rudy's
Rudy's house, by the way,
sure
just back onto a cricket club, so where he knows most of the lads. So it's like one of those. It's the temptation is there.
Yeah, or just going and catching up with your mates, going for dinner,
Yeah.
a few drinks or whatever at the right time is important too. Got the pleasure of going to your wedding this summer around a few of the games, which again is so important to be able to do those things, share those moments with your close friends is what it's all about. So I think that's a big part of it.
You didn't do bad the day after, did you either?
Did all right, yeah.
Got a few
we
runs.
won the game, so.
Yeah, exactly. Won't say which game it was.
Yes. We've got a question from Dan. I'll go for this one.
Yeah,
Dan.
go for it.
What sort of impact have the Barmy Army had on you during your England career, and can you what are your special memories of the Barmy Army?
There's so many. I think the couple that really stand out was first tour. I remember Jimmy and Swanee drawing they were playing this stupid game in Calcutta where they were drawing on each other's shirts, like signing their shirts.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'll get involved in this. Signed Jimmy's, and then Swanee held me down while Jimmy drew all over my face in this marker pen, which is probably why it's part of the song.
Yep.
Right, and a couple of the guys spent half an hour I was red raw, and it was scrubbing it off my face. I didn't look stupid for the rest of the tour. But ever since then, the support that we've had, away from home is incredible. I remember we drew a test match in Melbourne. The amount of people, the majority of the crowd were English. The support, we were losing 3-0 or whatever it was at the time, and it was unwavering. The way that everyone still came out, they do everything they could to try and get us across the line. We drew that test match, but look at Cape Town, that epic test match
That
there.
was special. That was.
It felt like a home
amazing.
game. It really did. As good a game as it was, the atmosphere that was created within the ground. Some tired boys, tired bowlers, and you could definitely sense that they were getting dragged across the line with the support that was out there. So
Amazing.
Yeah, we're so lucky. We're so fortunate to get the love and the support that we get, and year on year it seems to get bigger and better. And you know what the great thing is still that original crew still go and travel. The guys that set it up from the very start. You see them out and about, and their genuine love and passion for it is, I think, is really important, and it still resonates with the players, and what they started and what it's become now. I think they should be extremely proud of that and everyone involved in it, because it does make a big difference to all the players out there on the field.
Yeah. Well, on that nugget, Joe, thanks so much for your time on this first episode. Just a reminder, we have a second episode to come where we're talking all about the Ashes, talking about Bazball and all the rest. Really looking forward to that. Looking forward to your company on the next episode of the Everywhere We Go podcast.